echo in here.
He's playing again. How's that happened? Bertie.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Gooner Gathering, where there are no technical issues whatsoever. My name is Posh Bertie, the poshest man in all of sports entertainment, and joining me, as always, is a man who brings technical issues to the world like there is no tomorrow, the founding father of Gooner Gathering, Gooner Lee Meads. I'm only playing with you. How are you, sir?
Thank you very much for that very kind introduction, my friend. It's lovely to see you again. And it's really lovely to see everybody here again. And hopefully I'll last more than about 6 minutes on this stream today. Before we go into all of that, I want to bring Matt Roberts into the thing. Hello, mate. How are you? It's nice to have you on live today. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. I've been up and down the country, so a little bit tired after getting home about midnight, which was a nightmare. But apart from that, I'm good. Getting nice and cozy as it's starting to get a little bit colder now. But yeah, looking forward to doing the stream today.
Thank you very much indeed. It's great to have you here. Nice to have Uncle Rod's in the chat. We are doing great, mate. Anfield Uncle Rod has been so good for us in promoting our channel. A brilliant WhatsApp group I'm in as well. So thank you very much for all your help. Of course, Stacey is in the chat as well, saying good evening. So I think the first place that I want to start for is just a little bit of an apology to our audience who might have watched us on Twitch the other day, and a little bit of an apology to my co-host, because
You don't need to apologise.
I do. I feel like that time when the ECW commentators abandoned their station as Chavo Guerrero's music was playing. You might not remember this, but Mark, Adam Lee and Taz left their commentary position unannounced, and I felt I left you all alone. So behind the scenes chat, as soon as I put my emergency shutdown thing down, well, just fair to say that Gooner Lee Meads wasn't very well. So I want to say thank you, Bertie, for doing your wonderful stream all on your own. And who'd have thought playing Snake on Twitch would be so popular?
So two things. One, I think this is the first ever Arsenal football channel that has mentioned Mike Adamley's name. And two, you don't have to apologise at all. I appreciate it. If you feel ill live on stream, you obviously have to leave. I completely understand that.
It would have been graphic, I can tell you.
Yeah, I don't want to, we don't want any of that on this stream. And thank you, Stacey, for your support of visiting the chat. And the whole Snake thing, I was going to debut that a lot earlier. I was thinking many months ago, before the Arsenal City game where I soloed it at the Etihad, if we're losing so badly, I might play Snake mid-game. Luckily, I didn't. I was too busy actually focusing on the match like a professional. So you
were a professional that day. I do recall this.
Yeah.
At least you didn't end up playing bingo, eh? Who would do that?
I would never get my dabbers out live on stream. Don't worry. I got my Snake out instead. But yeah, it was a fantastic stream and everything was very good.
Which you can all see on twitch.tv/Gooner Gathering. Oh, look, there's Jordan in the chat. Hello. Right. So listen, the reason why we're here, we've got a lot to cover, and Matt is here for his specialist knowledge, because let's be fair, Matt, you are a very, very busy man, and you're also doing fantastic work on the Vic Akers Wonderland. So there's the first plug for your channel for this evening. There'll be many more, I'm sure. So instead of you going off and doing a little bit of a video about what's been going on, I thought it'd be rather more fun for you to be amongst us, and we'll try and summarize what's been going on and what's been going wrong. Why has it been a bit of a struggle? But things may be sort of turning a bit of a corner after the weekend. So let's take us back to game week 1 of the WSL. Arsenal versus Liverpool at the Emirates Stadium. A fantastic effort in terms of. Thank you very much for doing that. So there's the link for Vic Akers Wonderland in the chat right there. Make sure you give them a subscribe.
It's much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Bertie, my admin assistant there. So let's say first and foremost, it was a fantastic crowd at the Emirates Stadium for game week 1 against Liverpool. I would imagine, were you there for that, mate?
I was, yes. I witnessed it all in its glory. A very interesting match, to be honest. Liverpool have an interesting way of starting their seasons. Last season, oddly enough, I did end up going to Prenton Park, which is Tranmere's ground, which they use just around the corner from me. They ended up beating Chelsea 2-1 that day, and guess who went on to be champions? Chelsea. But the difference was Liverpool won that game 2-1. Both of them, all 3 goals being penalties that day, and Liverpool winning this one 1-0. It was a game where you could see a lot of they hadn't had a lot of that connection together at the time. There's not been a sense of the squad is fully aware of where they are at the moment. You've got 5 new players in the squads. There are players playing out of position because of ACL injuries and all sorts. Other players have to have other responsibilities at the time. So at the moment, it's finding that correlation. We're still finding it out now. And that game against Liverpool, it just felt like a goal would probably swing it either way. So hats off to Liverpool to scoring that goal. I do find it funny that they're having a go about the added time, which I think we'll probably talk about later down the line. But it was a good game. It's unfortunate. Yeah, well, there's a lot of talk about it at the moment, isn't there? So I think we'll
all around the game. To be fair,
yeah,
they're adding on an awful lot of time. Thankfully, they only added on the 4 minutes against Man City in the men's game, so that was all right. But that was enough, if you saw the video, for me to actually completely lose my mind. But what I want to say is one thing I noted, and it sort of transpired on to the next game against Man United. Zimberger didn't look her most convincing self in that game. I recall a cross coming in which completely flapped, and it was very uncharacteristic for her, which may have cost her her place at the Man United away game. Let's speak about the goal itself. I believe it was Kearns who put the ball in from the right-hand side. At the far post, it was Millie Taylor, I think, scoring on her return to Liverpool. You might correct me on that. So, anything to add on the goal at all?
I think just all round the defending needed to be better. It was that no one goes to close down the cross. No one goes down to close down the shot. Manu is half expecting someone to come across. I think it's Lotta that's sort of caught in 2 minds as to whether to go and with her player try and close down that shot. But Manu doesn't see it, and essentially she just spills it, and unfortunately it just goes straight through her arms, and she couldn't push it out or anything. It's a very soft goal, don't get me wrong, but Manu has been having a lot of problems recently. Even in the earliest internationals, she had 2 howlers, and it just kind of speaks, maybe that's a little bit of if maybe just mentally she's not ready yet for the league season, but she always bounces back no matter what. She is a solid goalkeeper. The whole thing about whether or not she is going to be rotated, this isn't like a Ramsdale, David Reyes situation. This is totally about the opposition, who's the best goalkeeper between Sabrina and Manu between each game. So for the game against Liverpool, because Liverpool like to try and press quite high, Manu's a better goalkeeper to try and get that almost play out as an outfield player, so that she can get the ball moving quickly. And if there are stop gaps, try and keep that ball moving quickly. Whereas Sabrina is more of the goalkeeper that if at United they were putting the balls in the boxes, Sabrina's going to come catch them. She'll come and launch the ball if needed to.
Yeah.
We'll talk about United in a little bit, but it's just one of those things at the moment where he's going to rotate based on the opposition, not based on form.
Fantastic. Okay. One thing I do want to, before we move away from that opening game week, and I do want to sort of keep it kind of brief and keep the flow going along a little bit. A big shout out to everybody that was in attendance at the Emirates on that day. A record crowd at the Emirates for a WSL game. Good evening, Niall Kane. Welcome into the chat. Thank you for joining us. So the one thing that's sort of come to my mind over the summer, before everything even kicked off, was a lot of speculation, a lot of rumor and innuendo. I think you'll probably know where I'm going to go with this. Is Mary Epps, the goalkeeper who was phenomenal for England during the summer, during the tournament. I was wondering, obviously there was rumours of a big from a rival WSL team coming in for her, which was rejected. I believe Mary Earps' contract runs out at the end of the season. I wondered if that may have played a little bit on Zimberger. Did that maybe play a little bit on confidence? Just your thoughts. Purely speculation on my part.
See, this is a bit difficult. I have had my reservations about Mary Earps for a while. She is very sceptical to balls over the top. Most of the goals that she does concede, it's a long ranger or it's a lob. Or in case of the World Cup final, it was a ball across the ground into the other side. It is a weakness of hers. She is a great goalkeeper. There's a reason why she is the one called. She got the world's greatest goalkeeper award. I can't remember it on the top of my head.
Yeah.
But at the moment, for me, Manu's got a year's left on her contract, and for me,
she extended.
She extended for another year. Manu is a great goalkeeper. She brings a lot of personality to the squad. If you ever get to see the access behind closed areas, if you see any of the post-match or pre-match, she is one. She is the definition of crazy, but crazy in a really nice way, if you know what I mean. Not like Jens Lane. She's just got that crazy energy that you really love, that people really love, and I think I know Mary's got this side to her as well, but Manu is a big personality, and if you try and sort of one way or another, if you push one outside the window, inside of the window, that's a bad analogy. If you push it's a bit like a seesaw. I think that's the best way. It's like a seesaw. If you have Mary Earps, you don't have Zinsberger, but at the same time, you've also got Sabrina. There's almost three different types of goalkeepers. You've got Mary, who's more of a traditional goalkeeper. You've got Manu, who becomes an outfielder, and then you've got Sabrina, who likes to distribute as quickly as possible. If I'm honest, I think there were other areas that we needed to improve on. It would have been nice to have gotten a right back, unfortunately, because of Laura Weinreiter.
Yeah, of course.
Is still out with an ACL. She is coming back, but I would think what will happen is that they will assess her just before January and see how long of a time is she going to be out for, whether or not to make a sign for right back or not. even if it is maybe just a loan for 6 months and go from there. But for me, at the moment, the goalkeeping situation is going to be one that keeps on going, and it'll be one that goes that continuously goes. It will all depend on what Manu decides. If I'm honest, if Manu decides that she wants to go early, that's fine, fair enough, because she's been a brilliant service to the club. It was if she ends up going and she doesn't end up with any other trophies because of the way the fixtures have fallen, it's a bit of a shame because honestly, we should have had a WSL. We should have probably had another hand on the FA Cup. She's been a fantastic servant. And whoever replaces her, whether it's Sabrina, whether it's going to be Mary Earps, we wish her, whoever they come in, we know that they're going to be up there in terms of quality because that's what we need at the moment is a lot of quality. Yeah, excuse the might have probably heard a bike go past. That's probably what it was.
A bike, was it? Fair enough. It was the Undertaker. No, I'm joking. So fair enough. Okay, Posh, have you got anything to add on the goalkeeping situation with Mary Epps? You might be a little bit familiar with that.
So I'm familiar with Mary Epps. Yeah, she made a lovely save in the final against Spain. Yes, I know it didn't come to anything because England lost in the end, but I think she performed very well throughout the tournament. And yeah, she's a very good goalkeeper. And Manu is my favourite, one of my underrated member of the legacy. And I think Manu.
I'll explain that to Matt later on. Sorry,
it's a wrestling reference.
That's right. I need to know.
I be honest, I don't know much about Arsenal's women's goalkeeper as much as I know about Mary Epps because she's the England goalkeeper, and I kind of know more about the Lionesses than I do about the Arsenal women's team because I'm not as a bigger expert on the WSL as you are, Matt. So True. That's my issue, I guess.
This is the thing I have to keep. I always felt when I started covering this, I need to really do my homework to keep on top of these guys. I want to say hello to Sam Wilson in the chat, who's down there. It's nice to see you in the chat, mate. Hope you're doing very well. Mile High Hotspur has really kindly joined us. Thank you very much for coming in and saying hello to us. I think one of our new subscribers, by the way. So how kind is that? And look, I know they're Tottenham, all right, but be really kind to them and support all YouTube content creators. It's a very, very hard thing to do. Bless you for jumping in and saying hello. Thank you.
I've known many good people in my life who are Tottenham fans, so you don't have to worry about that issue.
Absolutely. So let's move on to game week 2, Matt. So trying to bounce back from a very difficult home defeat to Liverpool, really easy task going to Man United, eh? I've got to say, watching this game live was absolutely phenomenal. And one of them games that went one way, swung the other way, and then went right back again. Could you kindly talk me through the solo goal that Stina Blackstenius scored in the 14th minute? Because I thought it was absolutely sensational.
She could have actually scored earlier on within the first 30 seconds of the game. It was that kind of intensity that the game had. If I had to use the men's game, it was almost like a early noughties, like 2001, 2002, when Martin Keown and Van Nistelrooy had the bust up. That's the type of mentality these games have. It's very end to end. There's goals galore. It's last minute winners. There's always someone that's going to be a hero and villain at the end of it. It's almost like if you wanted to package up the WSL on a Friday night at 6:45 kickoff, which was a bit ridiculous, really, because you've got a lot of people coming in from work at 5 and so on. So, but anyway, to get it on, to credit to the fans that actually went, because I decided I couldn't get there. I knew I couldn't straight away get there. It basically to let people know that Lay Sports Village is impossible to get to unless you have a car available. There's no trains around. The only way to get there would be a bus, and the bus is over an hour. no guarantee you're going to get back into Manchester at the very earliest. But enough about the transport.
Yeah.
Just
I have my own
Steena's
transport
goal.
issues, son.
Steena's goal, fantastic.
Steena's goal is brilliant.
So essentially, what happens is she finds herself just through opportunity comes through. She's just got the ball on the edge of the box, and she's just managed to find the extra space that's left by, I believe it's Gabby George and Millie Turner. She's just kept through, kept on going. She's hit the 6-yard box, and then she's just tapped it past Mary Earps, very Henri-esque, hitting it right into the furthest side of the goal, so that Mary Earps has no way of defending herself or trying to get a save on it at all. And it was a fantastic effort. And as soon as that one goes in, that's when the chaos really starts, doesn't it?
It certainly does. If anyone who's watching hasn't seen that goal, please check it out. You can find it here on YouTube. I'm very aware. Sorry, I'm on Facebook and we're on Twitch here tonight as well. Find it on the YouTube. It's a sensational strike. Kind of reminded me. You mentioned Thierry Henry. Like, it reminded me of Henry against Spurs when he ran literally from his own half. It was unbelievable to witness live. It's a shame we weren't commentating live on it because I literally lost my mind in there. It was, yes, sir.
I was going to say, a goal, I've just seen it, a goal that it reminded me of, obviously not on the same level as Thierry Henry. I'm not that deluded, but against Man United as well, Nacho Monreal in the FA Cup a few years ago, 2015. Yes. Remember that one at Old Trafford? Yeah.
Wonderful goal. Absolutely. That is a great shout, Posh Bertie. Thank you very much for that. Right, okay. This ain't gonna be so pretty, Matt. You know what's coming, mate. So for some reason now Zimberger, when I've been watching WSL for the last sort of nearly 2 years, has literally been our pretty much undisputed number one goalkeeper. I mentioned a few minutes ago, didn't look quite herself against Liverpool. So the decision was made to drop her for this game at Man United. So D'Angelo came in. Now, do you know what?
I've just seen that equaliser. Shades of Aaron Ramsdale, I'm afraid.
If anyone used to watch Question of Sport back in the day, there was a round called What Happened Next. So tell me, Matt, what happened when the Man United defender on the left-hand side hit that whopping great ball out from about left back position, and tell me the disaster that happened following that.
What annoys me the most is the fact that it was Gabby George, and I have a really big soft spot for Gabby George when she was at Everton. But Gabby George plays the long ball over the top. As Sabrina comes out, she sees that it's going outside the box. So she goes, right, okay, I'm going to go and kick it. And not Martha Thomas, Leah Galton is just decided to try and chase it down just to give her a little bit of pressure. As soon as Sabrina miskicks it, Leah Galton's got an open net, and she practically walks it in. She could have walked it into the net because no one was going to chase her. Unfortunately, none of the centre-backs got back in enough time, or any of the defenders got back to sort of be able to make any sort of challenge. But it was just a tap in for Leah Galton. But the video does show basically Ella Toon celebrating in the background even before the balls hit the back of the net, because she knows that's the equaliser.
Yeah, absolutely. There was, I mean, I could have probably been playing in that position and probably put the ball in the net from that, to be honest. It was, I mean, I think you were very kind in saying the miss kick. I think the old-fashioned wrestling term for Posh Bertie, the old whiff, completely missing everything. Like a baseball swipe and completely missing the ball. It felt a little bit like that. I do feel sorry for her. It was a horrible error to make on live television as well. It's not great. However, I want to say I thought Arsenal responded really well to it. and they showed a lot of character coming back into the game. There were a few chances, including Russo, I believe, had an effort. Can you remember that?
The post, hit the crossbar even. And as I talked about Mary Earp, she is very sceptical to the odds lob. And just Russo's gone for the shot outside the box, and it's just curling. You think it's going to go in, and then at the last minute it just hits the bar, and just a minute later they go up the other end and score.
I'm just seeing it again.
And that one was a bit of miscommunication as well, actually, which was a bit of an odd one, really, between Sabrina, Amanda Ristat, and Leia Codina, even. They were all trying to get on the ball, trying to make sure that Sabrina gets a hand on it. There was no real communication. Amanda just comes in and just gets a shin on it, and she, again, it's basically a tap-in.
Scoring on a debut. I think it's probably important to add as well. It wasn't great from us. It was unfortunate. However, one thing I'll probably do want to say is some of this Arsenal side are still getting to know each other. Some of these players are playing with each other, and Matt, I think you'll probably agree with me that I don't even think that we'll know our very best 11 at the moment with the players that are still missing. You mentioned one of the defenders making a little bit of mistake. Of course, Leah Williamson still out with her ACL. You'll probably know this better than I will, to be honest with you. I don't know her recovery schedule, etc., like that. I know that Jem Beattie's been playing a little bit. Obviously, Lotta Ruben Moyer's been playing a little bit as well. Trying to get a sort of base in, a defensive shape organised is very difficult, and I think we showed a few mistakes. They will get to learn from them mistakes, especially from that goal from Mallard.
Yes, and if I'm honest, would I rather make these mistakes now or when it's towards the end of the season, when you're playing for potentially a title or a Champions League spot, or say the next round of the FA Cup or in a final? You don't want to be making those mistakes then. If you get it, at this moment in time, because of the way the World Cup has come about, it has meant that a lot of the teams haven't had that much time together compared to others. So, for example, Liverpool have had a full pre-season. They've ended up playing behind closed door friendlies against the likes of United and other teams as well. You've had Chelsea have had a full pre-season without Champions League qualifiers or anything like that, compared to us. Whereas essentially when we had the Champions League qualifiers, that was basically our first real game of the season, and that rustiness that we had at Linköpings and PSG, Paris FC even, it did show. It did come through quite a lot, whereas it's not as rusty as it was back then, a couple of months, last month. However, it doesn't also help that there's been an international break. But whereas now there's less of these errors coming up, but there's still minor errors that need to be worked out.
Absolutely. But one thing I think we've got to learn from this Arsenal side is that there's no give up, and that certainly showed here against Man United. It certainly showed yesterday against Aston Villa as well. Let's just go cover Chloe Lacasse's goal against United before we go further forward from this one. If you could kindly talk through it, that'd be great, because it was another wonder strike from outside the penalty area, if I recall. I think I'm right.
Yes, and Chloe has a fantastic record last season, the season before. If you do have a look in the YouTube archives, you can find Chloe Lacasse's summer goals, either in the Feminine Premier, I believe that's the Portuguese league, where she was playing with Benfica, and even in the Champions League. She was almost given a license to shoot either outside the box or come in and have that effort. There's so many fantastic goals that she has scored over the last couple of years, and she's really shown at Benfica. And there was a reason why Arsenal were interested when there was that injury to Beth Mead. Unfortunately, that didn't get done, but instead it was done this summer instead. But it does show that she was there for a reason. It's not like she's a second-class Beth Mead. She is here with an intent that she wants to be playing at the best club, making sure that she steps up to the next level. She wants to be in that Canada squad. She wants to make sure that she's at the Olympics next summer, and she's got a fantastic opportunity to do that now. She was at the World Cup, but she didn't make that many appearances. There's an opportunity now for her to do that, and scoring goals like that. If she keeps on doing that, I think that will give her a good opportunity to do so. It's a great
absolutely.
shot from just outside the box and hitting that right into the top corner as well. It's a keeper's night or worst nightmare, but it was fantastic. And Chloe has been a brilliant addition to the squad so far.
A 93rd minute equaliser. These old late goals for Arsenal over this season in both sets of the men's and the ladies' game are just something to write home about. I have to tell you, it's been quite
Shades
incredible.
of Reece Nelson.
Yeah, I couldn't put it better myself. And I'm very, very pleased, Matt, that you mentioned just a moment ago about Beth Mead, because yesterday, yes, it was yesterday. It was Sunday. Yes. What day of the week are we? Where am I? Who am I? It's been a very stressful couple of days, I can tell you. A lot of excitement around the place. We're seeing Beth Mead involved in the matchday squad against Aston Villa. This is 10 months after that memorable game against Manchester United. I remember it pretty much like it was yesterday. I'm pretty sure yourself and Lottie were there when Mead unfortunately done her ACL injury. And of course, Alicia Russo managed to get United's last sort of gasp winner in a 3-2 win. Yeah, I have been doing my homework. Are you impressed?
Yeah, I am. Yeah,
mate, I have to make sure that I'm on your level, my friend. You know what I'm saying? So listen, so a lot of excitement seeing Beth back. I would say it was a bit of a slowish sort of start for Arsenal in this one. And we mentioned somewhat of our defensive frailties. It sort of came to light again on the set play, the corner kick that was taken by Stefan Forth and a free header for Aston Villa. Would you like to add anything more on that?
I would, but I haven't. First of all, I haven't seen the goal because because of train issues, I missed that up to that point. But by the time I was actually out of the station, I had heard cheers, so I missed that goal entirely.
That's fine, mate. Don't worry. Well, listen, I can describe it. It was so the corner came in from when the keeper is. It was to the keeper's right. Came in, and I'm gonna. If I butcher this name, I'm really sorry. I'm really trying. Pashiko completely works away past all the defenders. I believe she's a left back, but she managed to get up there, and it was a completely free header, unchallenged. I don't think goalkeeper had any chance. It was Zimberger back in goal in this one, by the way. However, after that bit of a shock, and it was a lot of banging on the door kind of effort, I don't think this Aston Villa side probably threatened us as much as we might have thought they would have done, particularly with Rachel Daly, who I thought was a little bit quiet. What did you think?
This has been the problem. I've been thinking that maybe they've been found out because they're using the same plans from last season. So for those that are wondering, it's almost like when Huddersfield were back in the Premier League for the first time, no one knew how to beat them, and that's how Huddersfield stayed up. Whereas with Villa, and then Huddersfield used that same plan the next season, they go down because they're using the same plan. They haven't really adjusted or made any alterations.
Second season syndrome.
Yes, that's oddly enough, that is the coin term, but with a Villa at the moment, it does genuinely feel that way. Like they don't have that other plan in the pocket. They can't just turn around and be like, well, we'll just turn up and do this with the starting 11. I also believe that they have a couple of players injured out at the moment, so that's probably not helping their cause. But they've got some great players that they've added to this squad already. Daphne van Donster-Ella, who was perhaps one of the best goalkeepers at the Euros and World Cup over the last 2-3 years. She's been fantastic. The fact that she's come over to Villa means that there's something obviously there for her. I think she'll be a bit gutted because she was actually keeping Villa in that game. It could have been a lot worse for them. I'm debating on who would have been had Hannah Hampton been in goal for Villa. Would it have been a higher score? Most probably. But that's nothing against Hannah Hampton. That would probably just because Daphne is
goalkeeper as well. To be honest, I think
Daphne's taller than Hannah, and because she covers more of the goal, she has an extended reach. So it's I don't really want to use the Pickford analogy of it, and
I get what you mean.
But between Pickford and Ramsdale, who would you rather pick? You probably pick Ramsdale because he's got a bigger reach and he's taller than Jordan Pickford, who's a little bit smaller. But yeah, I was. It just felt like Villa didn't really have anything to add, and there was a lovely couple of moments where Jordan was coming over and warming up, and she was getting all the applause. Have I stolen your notes?
Yes.
There were so many fantastic moments, and
Jordan Nobbs. Let's just get this right before we say anything else. Had such a distinguished Arsenal career, and it was so nice to see a full Emirates Stadium, or quite full Emirates Stadium, giving us such a nice reaction. Where, despite the fact that our struggles ourselves, it was so nice to see that crowd give her the reaction that she so deserved. Absolute Arsenal legend, will be in the Hall of Fame at Arsenal at one stage or another. Absolutely no doubt about that.
100%. Just so to wrap people's mind on things, that essentially she's won everything apart from the Champions League with the club, and she's been a dedicated servant for I believe it's well over 10 years, and eventually it's a case of when you have someone that legendary, it's almost like a stick and twist. Because you're not getting the game time, do you go, right, okay, I need to get that game time somewhere else, or just you go and try and fight for your place?
Yeah.
Fortunately for her, she decided to leave, but no one could blame her because she wasn't getting the minutes that she wanted. And in the end, it worked out really well for her because she got back into the England squad. Although she didn't get any appearances in the World Cup, it was a bit of a shame.
Just pinch my notes again, you know.
She'll always be remembered as a fantastic player for Arsenal, and I hope the idea of testimonials don't go away, because a player like Jordan should be getting a testimonial. There are a couple of other players that I'll probably say are on Arsenal's books at the current moment that could be quite close to retiring, and I do hope that they do have a testimonial, because it'll be great to see some of those players back on the pitch one last time.
I mean, one that sticks out in my mind, if we're going to do testimonials for Jordan, we absolutely should. Mana Abuchi would be great to see her back in an Arsenal shirt one last time, wouldn't it? But that's probably for another time. So as we're going in towards injury time, we're looking at a 1-0 home defeat again, and it's all looking a bit grim. And now Posh Bertie, you're a big fan of Katie McCabe, aren't you? Because the Arsenal version of Sabu.
Haku, I think you're on about.
Haku, yes, you're absolutely right. So
when Kate McCabe took a lie detector test, the machine confessed everything.
Absolutely. Well, I couldn't put it better myself. Katie, I think, has got an extraordinary reputation, not just for being an enforcer in the midfield. Hello, Arne Anderson. I know you were going to say it. But also, she scores absolute world-class goals. Sorry, mate.
No, carry on.
But she doesn't score the easy goals. She scores absolute worldies. So how on earth did she get that ball in for the equaliser from so wide out? Matt, tell me. I have no idea.
It is such a talent for Katie to do that in an impossible. So essentially, Katie is on the sideline, on the edge of the 6-yard box, and she absolutely smashes it into the top corner. And she has this very unique technique and ability to go, you know what, I'm going to just smash it and it will go into that top corner, or it will just come off as a weldy or a belter, a rocket, whatever you'd like to call it. She pocket rockets is another one. She just has that quality, and a lot of the time, especially last season when Arsenal needed something, it was Katie dragging them across the line. That was not down to Katie herself, but it was because other players had gone off injured, or other people weren't able to do the job as well as others. Katie had, at one point, Katie was leading the team out. She is the captain of Ireland as well. So she has this extra incentive to know when she's going to be able to be in the right moment, do the right thing in the right moment, as she basically carried Ireland to the World Cup qualification before they got into the playoffs. And she's been a fantastic player. And every time you look at her, you know she's going to do something special. I know a lot of people talk about the yellow cards and things like that, but I'd rather have a player like Katie than have a player that just sort of only does that like once a season and then just sort of sulks in like the centre circle or something like that.
Absolutely. Oh, the image of William Gallas just appeared in my head for some reason. Anyway, so not content for getting a draw. So and let's be on it. Let's be absolutely fair. There was a lot of injury time added on at the end of the game. If I recall, it was something on the lines of about 12 minutes. Could Alicia Russo have written a better script to end this game? And tell me how wonderful it was to see Beth Mead involved in that winning goal as well.
So just in the lead up to that, we didn't know whether or not Beth was going to be coming onto the pitch or not. So it was always going to be touch and go. I think it was done out of desperation to try and get something out of the game.
Yeah.
She came on in the 88th minute. Then the ball comes up to say 12 minutes. So at that point, you think, okay, that's fine. I wasn't expecting to see Beth come on at all. If she did, it would probably be a few odd minutes towards the end. I wasn't expecting her to come on. I wasn't expecting her to do anything special. But I think a lot of that emotion that day, you could feel it around. And as soon as she came on the pitch, I don't think it was in the air that Beth was going to do something. It was in the air that she was back and she was slowly, gradually getting back to her old self. And I think she didn't even know, she didn't notify the bench or anything. I think she had it in herself that she was going to say, right, I've got X amount of minutes, let's see what I can do. And the fact that she was able to see Alessia, and Alessia was able to go, right, okay, I'm having this shot first time, hitting that bottom corner. And it was a fantastic. There we go. It was a fantastic finish by Alessia, but I think the biggest applause of the entire day was that Beth Mee came onto the pitch. Alessia scoring that goal has done her the world of favours. You look at other players that have come to Arsenal, haven't scored their first goal. Someone like Nikita Paris eventually took a penalty to actually score her first WSL goal for Arsenal, albeit her last. Lena Hurtig still hasn't scored her first WSL goal yet.
Oh, wow. I didn't realise. That's interesting.
But there's other players as well that you look at and think about that haven't got their first goal yet. Noel Moritz hasn't scored a goal for Arsenal yet. There's other teams, although Noel is a right back. It's just one of those things that sort of might play on your mind towards at some point. Are you going to ever get that goal? And to have that done that after 3 games, it's a huge boost for her, and it also gets a lot of people back on her side, because a lot of people at this time were thinking, is she really this top striker that everyone was thinking? She isn't that top striker, but she'll get there, and she might go on and off with these goal scoring opportunities, but she'll get there eventually. And she is she took that with some venom. She scored 2 fantastic goals against Paris in the Champions League already. So it's not like she hasn't done it without a lack of trying.
To be honest, mate, her reputation at Manchester United goes. You know, you can't deny she's a top talent. We've all seen. I think Bertie, you would have seen an awful lot more of her. I know you like the story, so go ahead, Bertie. Tell me where she's from again. Just up your neck of the woods, isn't she?
Yeah, so Alicia Russo is from Maidstone in Kent, so about half an hour away from me. If the traffic's good, that is. But yeah, but on that goal, it was fantastic. I've not seen a better script written by Russo since Survivor Series 1998.
1998. Well done for going for 98. Thank you, mate.
Right.
Poor Matt is feeling so alienated, mate. That's not fair. That's not fair at all. but in all seriousness,
wanted me here.
I did want you here because you're my host, right? Look. In all seriousness, so Arsenal from the jaws of defeat get the victory. So does that mean coming into this weekend's fixtures, how confident are you? I believe, is it Bristol City this weekend, Matt?
Yes, away to Bristol City, another one that I would have gone to, but
I didn't write that down.
Had the TV company decided to actually not make it a 6:45 kickoff, I would have been able to go. But it's again one of these things that have sort of slowly cropped into the game, and unfortunately it's one of those things. But because it's on TV, it's available to watch for people in the UK, and I'm sure you'll be able to find it on the FA Player if you're not in the UK. But it will be a fantastic game because Bristol City, champions from the Championship, at the moment it only works as one relegation, one promotion. That is expected to change coming soon, but let's wait and see, because there's a lot of proposals to do over that. But Bristol City is one that I think I was always expecting to look forward to, because it's a new team. You don't know what you're going to get with them. There's some old faces, some new faces as well in there, and it's just going to be a fantastic matchup. You don't know what you're going to get because it's a new team. As I said, it's a new team. But Bristol have been very good this season, even though they've lost all 3 of their games. They lost their opening game 2-1, but I think they lost another game. I think it was to Leicester. They lost 4-2. But it's not like they're not trying. So there's a bit of goals galore, and they're trying, which is good to see, because that's what you want to see in the league, is some competitiveness. I just hope that, for Bristol's sake, is that they don't get the 3 points on Sunday. Maybe if they can nick it off of Chelsea or a Man United or Man City, then hopefully that will help them survive. At the moment, it works out as about 14 to 16 points keeps you up. So I am looking forward to that game. It's going to be a very good one to watch and keep an eye on, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Right. So I think from roundabout there, that will probably sort of cover us on the WSL. I would say for anyone watching, it's been very hard to schedule in everyone and fit it in with my work and everything else. So I'm glad we've managed to sort of cover all the opening of the season in sort of one sitting, if you like. What we'll do now, we'll sort of put our focus towards the internationals a little bit, just a little bit, because let's be honest, England versus Australia in the men's game wasn't possibly the most exciting game that we could ever see in the world. I'm not even sure Posh Bursey watched it live, in fairness.
No, I didn't, but I received a text from you saying that the greatest striker in the world was on the pitch. And absolutely, I thought, greatest striker in the world? Is Thierry Henry going to come out of retirement and switched allegiances to English? But
well, maybe not quite, sir.
Guy
maybe
with the wrong number 14.
Absolutely. But let's talk about it, because obviously a friendly here against Australia was one of these rare occasions here where Gareth Southgate had an opportunity to make some changes. He doesn't have an awful lot of games left up until towards where the actual tournament lies. Obviously, we haven't quite qualified yet.
Scotland have qualified before we have.
That is true, actually. But if you put your eyes through this lineup, obviously in this England lineup, you won't see any Bukayo Saka, of course, who was withdrawn, obviously with the injury situation, which we've already covered on the channel. Gave a few opportunities for a few other players. Noticeably, poor old Ramsdale can't even play for England because Sam Johnston managed to get a cap here, the Crystal Palace goalkeeper, who's actually a really good goalkeeper. I really like Sam in goal. Let's go through it a little bit. Trent Alexander-Arnold, as you probably would expect, at right back. Tomori playing his first international in goodness knows, it might have been something like 18 months. Obviously, former Chelsea player, was currently at AC Milan. It was one I don't see a lot of, but when I saw him at Chelsea, I really rated. It was a really strange decision for him to go over there. However, he was playing
done well at AC Milan, though.
He's been absolutely superb. Absolutely been some top reviews for him over there. Lewis Dunk, of course, the Brighton man, was his centre half partner. Corwell, is it? Who's the new lad who was on loan next to him actually at Brighton, playing for Chelsea now, isn't he? One of them regular players. If we go across the midfield, we've got Bowen, we've got Gallagher, Maddison. For some reason, Jordan Henderson's playing in there. We'll talk about him in a minute. Jack Grealish, despite him being on the sidelines for much of Man City's campaign so far, playing on the left. And the number 9 was Ollie Watkins.
Ollie Watkins, yeah.
What did you make of it all, Posh?
Well, it's certainly a rotated lineup, but I guess if you want to experiment with the team, you do it in friendlies where it doesn't mean anything. No, that I think is the right decision. But obviously, they didn't. Again, it was a friendly. Wasn't really the most inspirational game you've seen. Jordan Henderson's still getting games. He actually dropped Maguire for a change. First half anyway. It was good to see Tomori playing. Good to see players like Ollie Watkins, Sam Johnstone let's be honest, under Southgate, quite a rare international cap. Yeah. Jared Bowen in the squad, he's done well this season, so good to see him play for England. James Maddison, of course, yes, even though he plays for Tottenham, I've sung his praises a lot this season. Probably one of the best
quite
signings
rightly as well, to be fair.
One of the signings of the summer, in my opinion. But yeah, the good players, but it's just uninspiring, friendly. We've got Italy. Is that tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
That's going to be quite a tough game because Italy have got a new manager and they've actually done very well under him. They beat, was it Malta or North Macedonia? It was one of the teams 4-0. They looked quite impressive. So they're getting that new manager bounce. So it'll be quite a tough game tomorrow. But the fact that Scotland have qualified before we have, we need to sort that out. We need to get a win over Italy to make sure people can see, oh, look, okay, Southgate might mean business for once. Let's see what can happen here.
So to make this clear, game at Wembley tomorrow. With a win, England will qualify for the tournament. And of course, we are playing against Italy. And if you recall the Euro final, we lost to them in there in the last tournament. Lots of a few different pieces in the puzzle here. Obviously, poor old Saka won't play in this one, so he can't get a chance to redeem himself against the Italians this time. But before we get too far into the Italian game, I do want to, and you kind of brought it up a little bit ago when I went up to the WhatsApp message that I sent to you, and a player that it's probably fair to say might divide a little bit of opinion on this channel. I mean, I can't understand why. Eddie Nketiah does get his England debut. In all fairness to the kid, he's scored a couple of goals. He has a couple of assists in 8 games. I think that what is that about a goal or a goal return or goal involvement, maybe in like 50% of our matches in the Premier League.
I don't care about. Nobody cares about XG. Proper football fans don't care.
Never said
about
XG.
Field tilt or anything like that.
Didn't say XG. I meant proper facts and figures. I said 2 goals, 2 assists. So, and I'm calling 2 assists in 2 winning penalties. If you recall, against Crystal Palace, against Sam Johnson, actually. But
he also missed the sitter in that game.
Yes, he did. Yes, I recall. I was watching. I was there. But for someone who, I've got to say, despite the fact he does divide opinion, does make you a little bit proud as an Arsenal fan watching one of our own centre forwards up there for England. Maybe say something nice.
Yeah, it's good to see him get a cap. Did bugger all though, I don't know when did he come on? Was it like the
rather late?
Yeah,
70, 75. He only had about 15 minutes.
Yeah,
so not a lot of time to get into the game. Was nice to see him out there. Honestly, as I kind of alluded to when we threw it over to this game, it wasn't the most inspiring game. Matt, what did you think of the England game?
I didn't watch it, and the reason being is it was only a friendly. If I'm being honest, the only time I really watch England is when it comes around to tournaments now, because even watching the game against Ukraine or the game against Ukraine, it was just tedious. I've never seen. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I was like, how is this team that was considering that it was the quality that got us to the quarterfinals of the World Cup, most of them, barring Jordan Henderson, doing as he always does, playing backwards and sideways and leading. It just I don't know what it is with Southgate in qualifying. He seems to be more of a tournament manager than a qualifying manager, and it's a bit of a shame that these things happen. But if I'm honest, the game against Italy tomorrow is going to be his biggest test, because essentially there's a chance we might not even qualify, because Ukraine and Italy are both on 10 points. If both Ukraine and Italy win tomorrow, the only thing separating England, Italy, and Ukraine at the moment is goal difference, which we have a little bit of an advantage on them with 14. But it wouldn't bode well going into, I don't know who we've got afterwards, but we've got 3 games left. of qualification, maybe less.
If you guys know anything about me, I literally don't look too far ahead of the next game. Bertie will know this when I mentioned you would drop Saka in a Champions League game. That's kind of what I meant about that. But yeah, you're right. I know what you mean there. You mentioned the Ukraine there just a moment ago. Zinchenko, of course, skipper of the Ukraine, did get an assist in their 2-0 win against North Macedonia. We should probably just briefly touch on the England goal. So Trent Alexander-Arnold playing the ball to Grealish, who sort of cross-come shot, was tapped in. As all good poachers should do, Ollie Watkins doing what he does very, very well, being in the right place at the right time, doing what centre forwards do. Posh, tell me.
Absolutely. He actually managed to get a good goal, unlike some other strikers that played for England that night. It was good to see him. Good to see him get his. I think it's his first international goal, which is nice to see.
Right.
And yeah, he's a very good player for Aston Villa. So, a player that I rate.
I rate very highly too. Very, very highly. One of them rare things in the game. An absolute poacher. Aston Villa, I believe, are trying to tie him down to a longer-term contract, with a few rumblings, certainly amongst the Arsenal fans, that they might want to take him. It's either him or even Tony, but it's
either or. I'd be happy with either.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand that. And just to cover the Italy game, which is tomorrow, probably expect Declan Rice to play in that midfield. If he doesn't, it'll be an absolute travesty.
We'll stronger lineup.
Because Declan has been absolutely incredible for us in that first quarter of the season, almost quarter of the season. I think a lot of us will say, wow, hasn't that lad settled in really well, and hasn't he made a mark? And in terms of not just his ability on the ball, his leadership, his just sheer presence on the pitch, I think makes an incredible difference. Some things are better in this season than last season. I think our defensive aspects are better than they were last. Maybe some will argue our attacking options have been a little bit iffy-ish. Again, much like the ladies' side, getting players to gel in positions, perhaps, but that's. I really don't want to have a stream where we're talking about Kai Havertz and
he didn't come up. I wasn't even thinking about him. That's for Saturday.
Just curious, has he been called up for Germany?
Well, funny enough, we should mention that he played. Hang on. He played as substitute as against the United States. He came on in the 62nd minute, and they won 3-1. Germany won 3-1 against the States. So I think that's something we should probably mention. Kai, I thought that last sequence of the game against Manchester City, when he came on for my lad Nketiah, I thought he made himself look very dangerous. I thought he looked quite good in that centre-forward position. And, of course, he had that role to play in the goal, which obviously he played back to Martinelli, whose shot made us both lose our minds during the live match.
I think that's probably his best position up front. Well, maybe as a substitute striker, coming off the bench to be an impact player, making a mark. And he did well against City with the assist. So maybe that's his best position rather than playing in the Xhaka role, which I've critiqued him for.
And I agree with you on that point, actually, because he did that role quite well against Crystal Palace in the back end of that match when we were down to 10 men. I think that was the second match of the season, just through memory. There have been moments in Kai's career at Arsenal. Obviously, it's been a bit difficult adapting to new players. We mentioned how difficult that can be previously. But I actually think, and, you could probably clip this if you want to, just for fun. that this could be the start of things for Kai, and it's quite interesting that coming back into club football over this weekend, we play his old club. We played Chelsea on Saturday,
and they're going back into form, Chelsea. So this will be a tough game.
Absolutely. Any thoughts on Kai Havertz, Matt? We haven't spoken to you about Havertz at all.
With Kai, it was always going to be difficult. If you look at the history between Arsenal players that have come over from Chelsea, look at some of them, it's always been, some call it a curse, some can call it this, that, the other. I can see what he's trying to do with the age and everything, what he can become in the next couple of years, so that he can be potentially in that Declan Rice category. He's still got a lot of potential, but it's still up to debate about where he exactly plays. And I think that's the problem, because I could quite easily see him as a winger. I could quite easily see him playing in the middle if needed to, but I'm not too sure on him playing up front. If he does play up front, it's almost, if you're playing Football Manager and you're using the false nine as a striker, that's the reason you play Kai Havertz up there. He's not a natural striker.
Okay, interesting. I mean, one thing I think he does have in his favour in that position is his sheer height, the 6'5" target of a footballer. I don't think we've had in our side for quite some time. Again, still one that's yet to properly make a mark. I know he's only scored the one goal, and that was a penalty at that. I understand that, and maybe with the price tag, perhaps people will expect more.
And I chanting 50 million down the drain.
But I've always said I'm always a very kind person. And I'm always very welcome to seeing people sort of find their way, and who knows, this weekend maybe it's a big game. Everybody, Chelsea in the Premier League, which myself and the poshest man in sports entertainment will be there for. What I'm going to ask of you that day, sir, is I'm going to ask you to lead that commentary, because obviously I'm on daddy duty on that day as well. But it will be fun. It will be live. I will put the times up on the X page as soon as I confirm it with you. Few other little points I do want to mention. Ødegaard was captain for Norway against Spain, but they lost 1-0, and Xavi was the scorer in that one. Thomas Partey was the captain for Ghana. Yes, they actually played him at the start of the match. He only played 45 minutes. This was a 2-0 defeat to Mexico. The goals were scored after Thomas Partey's departure. I think that might just be all of my notes exhausted. I can tell you that hour and a half before stream, I have been a very, very busy boy, as you can probably tell.
Stark contrast to me that has got nothing.
Well, look, you are here to contribute, Posh, and you're adding your wit and your charm, as you always do. Matt, your knowledge and your time is always appreciated. So with that being all said, we are going to get set to get wrapped up for tonight's stream. Any other questions before we head out? Please put them in the comments. Hopefully, the banner for our social media should be coming up on the stream any second now. There it is. So, Matt, you tell us where you can find you on your Twitter X page, please, sir.
You can find me at MattLR28.
Thank you very much. And Bertie, where can they find you, my boy?
My Twitter is at PoshBertie. My Instagram is at BertieOneless.
So, guys, I've really enjoyed being back in the hot seat after a really dodgy couple of days. I've enjoyed hosting this. Thank you to my two people beside me tonight on this stream. You can find me at Goonerly Meads. You can find me at Gooner Gathering, where you'll find all of us. You can also find us on the TikTok channel, where we always put some fun kind of clips up there and put some silly little bit of music together as well, which is always a good time. When you'll see us again, I'm not quite sure. Possibly when the press conference comes out and we start talking team news, we'll probably cover the Italy game at some stage as well. But
I might end up playing Snake on Twitch again. Who knows?
Twitch.tv/Gooner Gathering. Make sure you tune in for watching Posh play with his snake. Absolutely. But ladies and gentlemen, in all seriousness, thank you all for watching. Make sure you've liked the stream. Make sure you've subscribed to Gooner Gathering. We've had a lot of new followers on the Twitter. We've had a few new subscribers on the YouTube. We appreciate you all. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy your rest of your evening. And we shall see you later in the week.